Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week is our 100th episode, and we're going to be talking about the Iron Fist. And I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad, and his name is Iron Fist.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steven.
His name is Iron Fist, so if it's incorrect to call him the Iron Fist.
Okay, think about Black Widow. Would it be confusing if I said I'm going to play the Black Widow and then put 2-point Black Widow on the table?
Yeah, but there's only one Iron Fist model
For
in the game.
for
so
now, do you think the second Iron Fist is not going to just be called the Iron Fist?
It could be the
Isn't
Immortal
there-
Iron Fist.
It could be the Immortal Iron Fist, but it's probably going to be the Iron Fist.
Well, that is who we're here to talk about today. How is everyone doing? I'm pretty tired. I'm not fully recovered from this past week. How are you doing today, Steven?
I'm fine. Sunny day in Cleveland. Not really, but that's the joke.
Yeah. It is actually quite nice and sunny today, down here in Charleston. How are you doing today, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Just getting over a bunch of allergy nonsense.
Yeah. How are you doing, Brad?
I was going to say I have not been outside today, so that was news to me, Fred.
It's very pretty out. It's a nice day. Yeah. So we will have quite a bit to talk about today. Actually, I don't know if we will. The news that is occurring, we don't have any news from AMG yet. We probably won't really get any more news until Adepticon. But oh well, we'll hold out till then. On the upcoming tournaments list, we have on Sunday the 24th of March, there is a tournament in Dragon's Lair in Erie, Pennsylvania. So if you're in northern Pennsylvania, head on out there. On the 30th, there is a tournament at Fabricators Forge near Pittsburgh. That'll be Bryce and those folks. That'll be a good tournament. Then next month in April, on Saturday the 6th, there is going to be a tournament at Sweets and Geeks in Medina, Ohio. So head on out there if you're in that general area. And then, of course, on the 27th of April is a tournament at Steven's home store. That's Recess Games in North Olmsted, Ohio, near Cleveland. So that's the... Head on over there if you're in that area. Do we have... Are we going to have one in South Charleston this month? Or in April, I should say.
Yeah, the 13th.
April 13th. That's right. You told me this. And that's the second week instead of the third.
Yes.
Because we had to change the date. I don't have that in my calendar. I need to correct that. But those are the upcoming tournaments. We just had a tournament here in South Charleston, but it was for a formerly dead game that's being revived? Question mark? Guild Ball. I was there, Brad was there, and we had a couple other folks that are former Guild Ball people. It was interesting. This was my first time playing this game in more than 4 years, and I forgot how the rules worked entirely. And about halfway through my first round of activations, it all came back. It was like riding a bicycle. Brad can attest, because I was playing against Brad, that my the way I deployed was amateurish and poor. And then I turned the game around. Or at least I started to turn my play around. I did end up losing the game, but I was definitely starting to feel how to actually play the game again. How did you feel about the tournament, Brad?
It was fun. I'm glad I played butchers and not like shepherds or something that I actually didn't know how to do and gives me a headache.
Yeah. Butchers are apply blade win. That's
It's a
that's the
little more
strategy.
nuanced than that, but I
I know.
know the
It like
I know the nuances. I don't have to like
yeah,
figure them out on the fly.
right. You're old hat at playing butchers, and you didn't have to learn a new thing while relearning how to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I would not be against doing some more Guild Ball stuff, but I was having a conversation with Andrew about it actually, and Andrew was saying that he feels that Guild Ball is the cleanest rule set for a tournament competitive game in tabletop gaming. And I was debating about whether he was talking about like comparing it to MCP. I gotta say, like, I think he's right. I think that the rule set is probably a little bit cleaner there for Guild Ball, but the fun is not there. I think MCP is a more fun game. I don't know. That's just my opinion,
It
though.
is it is far easier and cleaner to move models in MCP too.
Yes, because you don't have to. You can just set down the movement stick and put them on the other end of it. You don't have to move the
Well,
movement stick.
anywhere along
Yeah,
the movement stick.
yeah,
And because it's not as precise, it's a lot cleaner. Anyway, we don't
yeah,
have to talk about Killbot anymore.
yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll move on. Uh, I don't have any games that I have played recently. We were all coming off of a big tournament and a big ramp up for a tournament, so I was taking a little bit of a break. Uh, I don't believe that Brad or Brandon have any games that they have played recently either, unless they have something they want to talk about.
I
But
do.
Steven, oh, okay. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Steven, you have some games that you want to talk about.
Yeah, I do. I went to my local game night this past Thursday, and shout out to one of our locals, Dave. He has a YouTube channel called Monster Dice Games, and he does battle reports there. And he's invited me to come onto the channel, and that's coming up this next week. So we kind of discussed beforehand, like he wants to feature characters that haven't been on the channel. You know what I mean? Because he's
Mm-hmm.
got a few games, quite a few games of MCP there. Um, so we were discussing it, and we finally came up with the notion that I will be running a convocation list, which I really haven't run before. So I was taking this convocation list to my locals to see what I could do with it. Um, so in that, also to make it kind of fun and a little bit restrictive on myself, I took uh, the road that I would take a box. So if I took the original Doctor Strange, I would have to take Wong in the list. Of course, they're both convocation. Ancient One, Mordo, Doctor Voodoo, and Hood, which Hood is not convocation. I'm taking Colossus and Magic because, well, Magic's convocation, but her brother is not. And then I finished it out with Blade and Moon Knight, just to just to do something a little bit different instead of just trying to cherry pick the best pieces.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I thought it'd be more fun for the channel because the channel's not competitive play; it's just like casual play, showing how things work, so on and so forth. So I get there, and Robbie's the first one to show up. And you guys know Robbie. He's been down to one or two tournaments with me. Um, and he was playing a new Professor X with Cyclops, Rogue, Magic, and Honey Badger. And I was taking Convocation, and I took Doctor Strange, Wong, Mordo, Ancient One, and Magic myself. So we played this game out, and I was kind of surprised what things you can do with Convocation. It's kind of shenanigans, kind of like what Shield is. I don't know if you guys run into Shield lists that do the rake thing, right?
What do
But
you mean the rake thing?
you just fall into little traps here and there.
Oh yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, like they're mistakes that your opponent lays out on the table for you to fall into.
Yeah. And like I did a play, I kind of mapped this out and I'm like, hey, this might work. So I did Mordo first turn, and I had him do his action to gain power. So he's at 3 power. And of course that's natural to do an advanced R&D, right? So that's what I did. And
Okay.
I put 1 power extra on Magic, 1 power extra on Wong, and then 1 power extra on Ancient One. And then I went with Wong, did a meditation to get him to 3 power, and then on Magic's turn, I played did her bump for 2, and then I played Orb of Agamotto, and I moved up Wong 3 and Ancient One 3 towards an objective because they didn't have any extracts on them. So it's a little cheeky play that you can do with Mordo and Orb of Agamotto. So that was kind of neat, first turn play. So just things like
this is me not knowing Convocation very well. What does Orb of Agamotto do?
okay.
I know this is probably like basic stuff, but I've not really played very much against Convocation.
Okay, do you know the card Rainbow Bridge for Asgard?
Yes.
Okay, it's the same thing. You can't be holding an objective, which nobody is the first turn, right?
Right.
And then if you pay 3 power, you can place within 3.
Okay.
So getting Wong and Ancient One up the board was very, very key to that game.
I see.
So you can, but it has the little surprises like that. Now it's not the first turn extra grab. I know that. That's, Beta Ray Bill with Eyes on the Prize, Viper and Hydra doing the refund of playing a tactics card. But, it still can put pressure on your opponent. I found that kind of interesting. And of course, I was running Strange, the first Strange, but if I were running, Sorcerer Supreme, he could do Eye of Agamotto right away on turn 1 also.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Strange, Wong, and Ancient One coming up to the middle would be very threatening.
Yes, it would.
So
There'd be a lot of table presence really early on.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot I'm discovering, and it's kind of giving me a new little passion. You know what I mean? To where is Ancient One good? And yes, she actually is very good.
I mean, it's probably a completely different play style than I don't know of very many other factions that play like Convocation. Convocation is just wild.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Ancient One is very good with a certain card in Convocation, which is Astral Ring. It allows her to attack. She places the Astral Ring within 3 of her. It contests objectives where she does not anymore, and she can't be advanced or placed, but she's not the one scoring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
right.
But then that allows her short attacks to actually be up even further, kind of like Shadow King's little power that he has. So she did a lot of work in both games for me. Against Robbie, I did win out, but it was a close game. Strange surprisingly took care of both Professor X and Cyclops. So it was kind of lopsided on that because Strange just one-shotted Professor X at one point in the game. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was not good, but we had an enjoyable time. I had an enjoyable time learning what I was doing as I was going along, and of course, Robbie was getting his feet with a new X-Men leadership. So, um, it was quite nice. It was quite nice. And then on a second game, I played Dave, the guy who's going to do the recording of the channel, and he brought a Daredevil Defenders list, and he brought Daredevil, Valkyrie, Elektra, Punisher, and Iron Fist. And I can't figure out who my other character was in this, but I switched out Doctor Strange for Blade. I think I put Voodoo in, but I'm not sure. I know I did Mordo Wong and Ancient One at least, but Ancient One into Daredevil was not a good thing. So
She did not do well.
no, she took
Or she crushed him.
she took Daredevil off the second turn.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because we were on Spider Infected, and he pushed Daredevil ahead to take one of my spiders at my back line, and it was the one that Ancient One was in front of, and she just went into him, and it was pretty not good.
Okay.
So, but anyway, like I said, it's a journey of discovery. I've kind of limited myself, but I don't mind having Colossus in there because he could do some protecting of some people. So we'll see where that goes.
Okay. Well, why don't you say the name of that channel again that you'll be on?
It's called Monster Dice Games or Monster Dice Studios. Let me look it up here a second while I'm doing that, Fred. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Okay. Well, while he's looking that up, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about. So I think that we should do a new segment that we've been discussing.
Fred,
over
you're
the past.
just not going to
Yes.
give me a chance to talk about what I wanted to talk about.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, Brad, why don't you talk about what you want to talk about? Sorry, I forgot that you had wanted to say something.
Okay, so I'm going to run a league for you guys. It's going to be a gymnastics league. So, I don't care if you switch rosters from game to game or whatever, but you get one free gym you can put on anybody, and you can pay one threat each to add other gems that you can put on people for the game.
And to clarify, they are gems that can go. We can put them on anyone. They don't have to be a gem bearer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And you can only put one on a character. Thanos can have two like normal, and nobody threat 7 or more is allowed to have a gem. What do you think about that? Does that sound like fun, Fred?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are no other restrictions, right?
No, Brandon broke your game.
Kingpin is
I was about
banned
to say
from the
Brandon's
format.
thinking.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all.
Play something fun.
I will. Kingpin with the Mind Stone. It's going to be super fun.
For you.
Did not say who it would be fun for.
The YouTube channel, Fred. I'm sorry. I thought Brandon was done, but I should have known better. Go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
I could do the Space Stone instead.
I mean, listen, it's not going to be much better.
Let's be a baller and do the Time Stone.
I want to do that. Yeah, it's going to be the Mind Stone. This feels good. Feels so good.
Well, geez.
Well, if you do the Power Stone, you can do Hail to the King every turn.
Yeah. Stagger and throw everybody. Listen, I don't know why you gave me this option. That's kind of on you.
I literally didn't.
We all thought
I
that
just said
Yeah.
Kingpin's banned.
Yeah, about that.
All right. Well, this is going to be a fight later on, everyone.
Okay.
So,
Well,
what's that?
let
Yeah.
let me interject. It's Monster Dice Studios. That's Dave's channel. To go watch some battle reports. There are some things we get wrong, and that's what the channel's for. Because we usually Dave's really good about commenting back and saying, yes, we did get that wrong. So, if you see something wrong in the videos, go to the comments, and somebody who's watching is usually corrected. So,
Okie dokie. All right. Well, go check that out if you're interested in watching some battle reports. Okay. So, we have been discussing some of the things that we have graded before we knew the full impact of what they were going to be. And we're going to introduce a new segment. And we're calling that segment the recalibration matrix. An excellent name for a segment where we're going to give a quick regrading to some of the ones that we have missed the mark on, or we in this particular case, I don't even think we gave them a grade. So on
Or
this episode,
or
or
they have
or
changed and they need
right,
regraded.
yes, or they have changed and need to be regraded. So this week, we're going to be going all the way back to the very first episode that ever came out on this channel. Actually, it may not be the first episode on the channel, but the first one called Crit Hit Wild, and that is both Honey Badger and X23, where you guys, the folks who were running, did not give either one of them a grade. So let us give them a quick grade, real quick. X23. I have seen X23 do amazing things with Brad playing her. She is a 3-point model who hits like a 4-point model and is surprisingly survivable. And that survivability is only increased if you bring Honey Badger along with her. Brad, do you want to say something real quick about these two? Because you've played them more than anyone.
X23 would be the number one 3 threat in her three factions if she wasn't in all 3 factions with Domino.
Right. Yeah, there's just a better option at 3 in all 3 factions.
So she's like number 2 3 threat in her factions.
And that's not saying anything bad about her. It's just
No.
Domino rules.
And sometimes I pick her over Domino if certain situations pop up.
Yep. Okay, so let's start with X23. Let's give her a letter grade real quick. I think that she's pretty excellent. She is also a 3-threat model, and she does have some weaknesses. I'm gonna give her a solid B plus. B plus. All right, Brad, or I want to let Brandon talk about her too. Brandon, what do you have to say?
X23 is great. The biggest downside on her is her 2 Mystic defense and her 5/5 health pool. Even with healing factor, it's real easy to take her off the board. It can be. Otherwise, I mean, she's really good. She's just not splashed a whole lot, but she's borderline an auto include, she's an auto include in all 3 of her affiliations, so it's a really good spot for her to be in. I'm with you though. I give her a B plus.
Yep. We should say what her affiliations are. They are X Force, X
Uncanny
Men,
X-Men and Weapon X.
the Weapon X program. All right, Steven, I should let you talk about her as well.
yeah. I think she's good. But maybe like what Brad was saying, she's good in some situations and not so good in others. Like I would prefer taking somebody like Deadpool into a convocation match, obviously. So,
Oh yeah.
and I will, I guess we'll talk about that character later. But for what she has and what she has going for her, she does have a little bit of action economy when Gabby's on the battlefield, so that's good. Her frenzy and allows her to do a little bit more than what she's capable of, just being normal. So, I guess I would rate her an A minus. Actually, tell you the truth, because she does have access to exceptional healing now. Obviously, Xavier's Dream is online also, and then she has a nice pair up card with the original Wolverine and the Wolverines, where they can't essentially be moved from where they're at if they want to stick to someplace. So I like that. So I think those cards make her value for me an A minus.
Okay, an A minus. All right, and Brad, what would you like to sum up here?
I've played a lot of X-23. A lot. B.
B.
Oh
Ooh, okay.
wow!
There we go. There we go. All right, now let's talk about Honey Badger. I have seen. I think that Honey Badger may be the worst two in the game. But that's when you in a game where all of the 2-point models are great. That's not saying a whole lot. I think she's still a very a solid model. I know that Brad takes her much less frequently than X-23. Uh, and she does help X-23 quite a bit, but definitely nowhere near as effective on the field of battle. Okay, so I would like for Brad, I would like to hear your opinion on Honey Badger.
She's fine. She is not the first two threat I picked for any of her affiliations. It's
Yeah,
she's she's not as good as splashing someone who's not affiliated in that spot.
which is
That's
not
saying a
great.
lot.
That's saying a lot.
She is better in X Force now, though. Preserve the Dream helped that.
Okay. Uh, Brandon, do you have anything that you'd like to say about Honey Badger?
The worst thing for Honey Badger is that the affiliations like Uncanny X-Men and X-Force want to be playing more scenario-based games where she can't contest or hold objectives. Um, she's a lot less niche than the rest of the 2-pointers, to go with Fred's part. Like, a lot of the 2s do something specific. She's just an underpowered 3-pointer in reality as a 2 that can't contest or hold objectives. And sometimes it just feels really bad because she doesn't roll like she doesn't have a reroll like Laura does. She only has healing factor 1. She does have a lot of health for a 2-pointer. She's got 9 total health, but only rolling 2 defense on energy and mystic. Like, she can die just super easy and doesn't have much ways to like figure it out, and not being able to contest ends up being detrimental, I think, to her playability. Like, if she could contest, she would see so much more play in
Yep,
X Force and probably Uncanny X-Men.
absolutely.
Definitely. Steven.
And she doesn't hit as hard as Nebula, who has the same restriction. Sorry, that's the one thing I wanted to.
Yeah. Nebula has the exact same restriction and hits like a truck.
Yeah, gets all the rerolls and stuff. Like, she needed something additional to her that made it worth taking her.
She has the
Um,
two. Is it what's the power called? Two. It's
Too
not
she
two
has
dangerous to
fingers.
bad
ignore.
bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
she's
and
got bad body.
that's not the best thing on her card, Fred.
Yeah. The best thing she has is when enemy characters are within one, they roll one less defense dice.
That's what I was trying to come up with. I
That's
knew
a
that.
part of the ankle biter, which means
Ankle
that's
biter.
attached to her not contesting and holding objectives.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it would probably, if you just took out that ability and she lost both things, if you left her the exact same way, she would see tremendous amounts more play.
Huh. Okay.
The best thing about her is her tactics card.
No.
Which it,
Yes, it is.
say what the tactics card is for everyone out there.
It's Jonathan the Unstoppable.
I love that Fred wants to know what it is and it pretends like we're doing it for the listeners.
That's exactly what's happening. Because I don't know what it is.
Jonathan the Unstoppable. Honey Badger can spend 2 power to play this card. You place a Jonathan token within one of this character. While this Jonathan token is play, it can test objectives as if it were an injured allied character. If an enemy character ends a movement within one of the token, you remove it from the battlefield.
That's right. I remember this.
And you can regain the Jonathan token. You can regain the card during cleanup if Honey Badger's on the battlefield and there's no Jonathan token.
Okie dokie. Yeah, that's fun.
It is fun. It's the best thing about her because it's adorable. And then if you have a really good friend like Brad, they'll 3D print you a
Jonathan.
a Jonathan to use.
Yep. All right, Steven. What are your thoughts here on Honey Badger?
She has one job and one job only, and that is to take damage for other characters who you don't want to go away.
Yeah.
And she also makes those characters better at hitting, so I think she's a lot better in X-Force. I agree with Brandon about her contesting and holding. It's very much a detriment. I think the other detriment is that her spender, which costs 3, rolls the same amount of dice as her builder. So to me, that's another negative against her. It's like, and you have to deal damage to give out the slow and bleed condition. Just not good. Just not good. You expect to have your, even if it was 1 dice better, it still, I would look more favorably upon it.
If a
But-
model can't contest, like they have to do something else, like extravagantly good.
Exactly.
Like
Nebula.
Nebula, the new Wolverine. Like that's why Wolverine was so hard to play before, because once he got to his backside, like it didn't matter, and they added a lot to make that a lot more valuable. He can absolutely just nuke opponents now on his backside. Like you've got to have something, and Nebula or Honey Badger just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, she doesn't build power all that well. So,
Okay. So
Unfortunately.
that's Honey Badger. It sounds like we're pretty down on her for being a 2-point model. I'm going to give her a C minus is where I'm going to put Honey Badger. All right. Steven, what are you going to give Honey Badger for letter grade?
I'm the same. C minus.
C minus. Okay. Brandon, where are you putting her?
I'll just do a C. No minus.
Okay. And Brad.
She only got 1 claw. She's already suffered enough.
And Brad, what's your take?
Actually, Brandon, she doesn't do much suffering because she's incapable of feeling pain.
That's fair.
She has her uses. I think she's a C.
Okay.
It's
All right.
emotional pain that she goes through.
So that is our first recalibration matrix. We will be going back to some of the other ones that we feel like we've given either not a great grade to, like the grade is incorrect based on the meta, or there's been a change in the character. So we'll be revisiting this segment. But now we have one other character to talk about. and that is the Iron Fist, otherwise known as Danny Rand. He is a he excuse me. He has 5 health on both sides of his card. He is a medium mover, size 2, threat 3, and he has 3 defense dice across the board. All right, let's say Brad, why don't you do the first 2 attacks?
His first attack is Energy Cheese Strike, range 2, 5 dice. It's free, gaining power equal to damage dealt, wild stun. His second attack is Physical Flying Kick, range 3, 4 dice, also free, gain 1 power, placed within 1 of the target.
Okay, Steven, why don't you do the most fun attack on this card?
All right, that would be the Iron Fist. It is an energy attack, range 2, 9 dice in strength, 8 dice in power cost. Before damage is dealt, other enemy characters within 3 of the target character suffer 1 damage. And then before damage is dealt, if the target character has an activated token, it gains the stagger special condition and is thrown short, away from this character. If the target character does not have an activated token, it will gain an activated token.
Okay, and Brad, no, wait, Brandon, sorry. Brandon's the person who hasn't spoken yet. Brandon, why don't you finish the card?
Iron Fist is an immortal weapon. During the power phase, he gains an additional power. He is also a master martial artist. When this character is defending against physical or energy attacks within 3, he adds blanks to in his defense rolls to its total successes.
And that is all that is on his card. The back is identical to the front. He is something. I don't want to call him simple because he's not simple. He's just doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles going on. It's really about that one attack and getting him enough power that he can get it off. Hopefully multiple times in a game, although that's very unlikely. All right, let's
You
talk
only
about.
ever need this off. You only ever need to get that off one time.
Yeah, yeah. If you get this attack off against a Hulk, you're
Well,
feeling great.
in gymnastics, you might as well put the power stone on him then, right?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow, I didn't even think about that. All right, let's talk about this. Brandon, I know that you have played the Iron Fist quite a bit. You've been playing the Defenders. What's your take here?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, yeah,
There's nothing bad on this card. Like he's exactly what you like. He doesn't have anything like negligent on his card for a 3 threat character. He has survivability with the blanks. He can place off of the flying kick. He has the ability to stun characters and also has some attack variety. Additionally, gaining additional power both on the flying kick and the cheese strike. It's real easy to get 8 power, say at the beginning of 3, end of 2. So he's real easy to kind of get powered up, and if they attack him, it just happens a little bit easier, especially if they can't finish him off. Nothing feels better than using your 3 threat model to activate a Hulk, a She-Hulk, a Magneto, a linchpin of their roster. It can just feel super gross.
yeah,
Now, most
yeah.
people who play against him know A, to kill him as fast as possible and to keep certain models away. Um, if he has to move and then flying kick to get into wasting an activation does hurt. If he has to like move and flying kick to get into place, because then he's usually easy just to take to days or then. So he can be kind of played around pretty easily, but he's really good at holding down a point by himself with the energy attacks with stun, as well as the Iron Fist to just take him off of the point.
Yeah, yeah. I think that
If the 9
counting
dice attack
blanks.
doesn't daze him, them not getting to activate is gross.
Right. I think that counting blanks is uh surprisingly survivable. It makes him very survivable for physical and energy attacks within range 3. That is, you'd be shocked how often that comes up. Actually, everyone who's listening is probably not shocked. They've probably played against Daredevil. All right,
It's probably
Steven.
more likely they've just played against Iron Fist.
Yeah, you're right. Steven, what are your thoughts here?
Well, my thoughts are this is a good example of AMG having a perfect design for a character and implementing it very well.
Mm-hmm.
To Brandon's point, he's somebody you have to be aware of. He's going to get his stuff off and stuff going. He's not fancy, but in his simplicity, that's what makes him good. Yeah, there's nothing bad to say about him. I and Brandon went over the activated segment, and that's a play because usually people who are running taller lists like to have their big guy go last. Well, if he's on the battlefield, he kind of changes that equation, especially if he's powered up. So, but then again, you run into the fact that if you do go with your keystone or centerpiece model, and you don't take him off, and he has the power to do the Iron Fist, he's going to give you a stagger on top of that, and
Yep.
his throw is unconditional. It's any
Right.
size.
It could throw a sentinel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, there's little tricks in this guy that, like you said, it's simple, but it's that one thing, that Iron Fist, that everybody has to be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's excellent. Brad, do you have anything that you'd like to add about this guy?
I no. The Iron Fist is good. Master Martial Arts is good. What else?
There's not a whole lot of nuance here. This is just a great model with pretty simple and pretty straightforward rules. There is one thing we need to talk about, and that is the tactics card that is associated with him. That is called Heroes for Hire. It is an unaffiliated reactive card, and when an allied character is targeted by an attack and is within range 3 of an allied Luke Cage and or an allied Iron Fist, the allied character may spend 2 power to play this card. Place an allied Luke Cage or Iron Fist that is within range 3 of the allied character within range 1 of the allied character. The placed character becomes the target of the attack. After the attack is resolved, if the placed character is not dazed and the attacking character is size 3 or less, the placed character may throw the attacking character away short. So that's another throw. And you do have to survive the attack that comes into you. But with the Iron Fist, counting blanks and on physical and energy, it's not unlikely that you're going to survive it. That's it is amazingly effective, this card. It's one of those cards that comes up every time you play it because someone will get attacked within range 3 of him and you'll want the attack not to go through. So you do this card and suddenly you can throw the character away if the Iron Fist survives. This card is a real ball buster if it's ever been done to you.
I would say easily one of the top 5 character cards in the game.
It's up there. It's up there. It's a great card. Yeah, it's basically, if you are bringing Luke Cage or Iron Fist, you are bringing this card. It's probably one of the 5 that you're bringing to the game.
Actually, back to Brandon's point, where you try to kill this guy, the thing is, with his immortal weapon, he can always pay for Luke Cage to come and save his bacon.
Yeah.
why people don't run these two characters together. I am even guilty of it, but just thinking about that card, it's like people are going to dive Iron Fist because they know what threat he is, but he can always pay for Luke to come in and save his bacon, and then once you place Luke, he's got too dangerous to ignore online too. So
Yep. And now here is an important piece of information about this card is that it is the character that is being attacked that has to pay for it. You don't pay for it with with the person who is going to be attacked when they are placed by this card. Like let's say if you have a person like say your leader. Let's say you have Blade on the table and Blade has 1 hit point and 4 hammers. And he's going to get attacked. You can use Blade has to pay the 2 power in order for this card to work.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just clarifying that for the listeners because that is a mistake that I have made in the past. It is easy to miss that nuance when you're reading the card.
Another interesting fact is that the character Danny can pay for it himself to use it on himself.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh. Okay, just so you could throw them away.
Or get a little bump out of it.
Yeah, you can move yourself. Interesting. Okay.
I've probably almost used it more doing that than I have anything else. Just for the rearrangement and then the throw.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. All right. Are you guys ready to give this guy a letter grade? Because I am. I'm gonna give Danny Rand here a very solid A, and I'm leaning towards an A plus, but I'm gonna give him an A. All right. Steven, what are you gonna give the Iron Fist? I'm doing it. I'm saying the Iron Fist all the time. What are you going to give Iron Fist?
Well, I'll give the Iron Fist his attack an S plus.
And yeah, it's a fantastic attack.
But for Danny himself, I'm going to go with an A minus.
A minus. Okay. Brad, what are you going to give Iron Fist?
Let's go with B plus.
B plus. Okay. And Brandon.
As much as I hate agreeing with Fred, I'm also going to give him an A.
Oh, you hate agreeing with me, man.
I don't like being on that super positive spectrum that you're on all the time.
I know, but
We're
I think
supposed
this
to contradict each other. We're not supposed to agree all the time.
this is one that it's hard not to be positive about. He's just very good. He's a
Really
very
good.
good model.
He's also super splashable.
Yeah.
His tactics card, and he's almost like when you're playing any of his affiliations, he's almost an auto include, and he's super splashable with the tactics card. I think he gets that rating.
Yep.
He can the fact that how he can just turn a game around. Not many 3 threats can turn a game around like he can.
Right. I mean, all it takes is him hitting Hulk and removing Hulk from getting an activation, and he has absolutely paid for himself. No question. Yeah.
I did it to Borka one time, and he'll never let me do it again.
You know what the combination is, though, Fred, right?
What's that?
So you have the first Doctor Strange, and you do your attack that will activate somebody at range 3, and then you run up Iron Fist into them, and then you stagger them, and then throw them with the Iron Fist.
So they are activated, staggered, and out of position.
Correct. I've done that twice.
That's pretty devastating. I'm gonna make here. We sometimes forget to give like what the affiliations for a model are. The Iron Fist's affiliations are Avengers, Defenders, and Midnight Suns. that's that, and those are three where he will be on the table all the time, in at least in Defenders and Midnight Suns, and there's no reason why he wouldn't be on the table all the time in Avengers. He is a very
He's
useful
a
free.
he's a staple in Sam Avengers.
Yeah,
Right.
he won't be in Steve 1 Avengers though.
Really, also not in Steve 2 Avengers because he doesn't have any like. I guess he has a
That's
wild stun on his
Steve 3, Fred.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. You're correct. The other Captain. Oh my goodness. There are too many Captain America models.
There are. That is correct.
Yeah. All right. That's the Iron Fist. Brad, do you have any comic books that feature Iron Fist?
I do. I actually have 3 recommendations for Iron Fist, who I don't really like, which is
Okay.
abnormal. The first is Iron Fist Volume 1, 1 through 15. This is by Chris Claremont and John Byrne. If you've been paying attention to my recommendations on the podcast, you already know that I like Chris Claremont comics. This comic is probably the only reason this character still exists and isn't just like some D-list character that pops up every once in a while, because he did show up in like other stuff before, but this actually made him popular enough to keep going, and I'll tell you about that here in a second. Most of this comic is him getting into fights with whatever superhero guest star of the week it is because of some misunderstanding. It also includes the first appearance of Sabretooth. I really like that first Sabretooth story. I think it is so good. Yeah, Fred, you didn't know that Sabretooth was an Iron Fist villain, did you?
No, I did not.
That's... Go ahead, Fred.
That's wild.
Oh, speaking of, let's do an intermission in the middle of my comic recommendation. Fred, how did you like House of X Powers of 10?
Oh yeah, it was outstanding. Brad was correct. It's worth the read. I was worried that I wouldn't pick up on all of the nuances because I haven't read any of the things going up to it. There were some things that I was a little bit confused about, but I was able to follow the story no problem, and it made sense. Everything made sense.
You
It's
you didn't read the 36 years of X-Men comics that came before that was published?
I know I shirked my responsibilities.
Because I did.
I can say you really don't need to. The
No.
story is propulsive and like it makes sense. It gives you the stakes, and it tells the story. It has a storytelling method that goes kind of out of order, but in a good way, like in a very interesting and artistic manner. I really enjoyed it.
If you know the X-Men from the cartoons or I was gonna say TV show, the movies, like that's enough groundwork information to read this story.
Yeah.
Also, Fred, they published a digital version of it that is in chronological order. And I haven't read it yet, but I've heard that it basically ruins everything that was special about the story.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't in chronological order. I
Yeah.
think that made it more. It was more interesting.
Right. Now, on to more Iron Fist comics. The next one, so at issue 15, that Iron Fist comic gets canceled. And starting with issue 50 of Power Man, it becomes Power Man and Iron Fist. And that lasts from issue 50 to issue 125. Some creators on this was Chris Claremont, John Byrne, who did the Iron Fist stuff, Joe Duffy, who's very famous, Carrie Gamble, and then others take over in the later stuff. But so the characters were popular enough that they wanted to keep writing them, but not popular enough to have their two separate books. And this had happened before with other heroes. So they combined them, and this is where the Heroes for Hire come from. And there's a lot of stuff in this because this is 76 issues that I'm recommending.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of storylines. The Daughters of the Dragon show up here, which I'm really surprised we haven't gotten MCP yet.
I've never even heard of them. Don't even know what they are.
It's Colleen Wing and Misty Knight.
Okay, you just said two names that I don't know.
Well, if you saw the
Not
Netflix
helpful.
TV series for Iron Fist and Luke Cage, then you would have seen them on it.
I did not see that series.
Well, that was two
I'd
different
fallen
series,
off of those
but
series. Yeah, those series. I fell off of watching those the Netflix series after Jessica Jones. Not that Jessica Jones was bad. I enjoyed Jessica Jones. It was just I stopped watching them.
the first season of Jessica Jones is the best thing that they made.
I agree.
Okay.
It was very good.
The final thing I have, Brandon actually mentioned this earlier, is called Immortal Iron Fist. It's Matt Fraction.
Great. Can
Dave,
confirm this is a great series.
David Aja, Ed Brubaker, and that's like the first, I don't know, like 15 issues. And then Dwayne Straczynski and Travel Foreman take over. So the first part of it is like kind of a history of the people who've wielded the Iron Fist. And then there's an arc where there's a tournament and they introduce a load of new cool characters called the Immortal Weapons. And then it goes into an arc where Danny finds out that all the Iron Fists die at age 33, which he currently is, because an entity comes and slays them. And then there's even more after that. And if you're only going to read one Iron Fist comic, you should read this one. A couple of the other people on this podcast will know JB. JB loves Iron Fist, and it's mostly for this series.
Huh. Okay.
And
I believe JB was the reason I ended up reading this series.
yeah, he recommends it to everybody.
Yeah, it's great. If you're gonna choose one of the 150 issues that Brad just recommended, you should start with this one.
Not 150. Like just over 100.
Yeah.
For someone he doesn't like, but he offers over 100 comics to.
Yeah, I was
think-
gonna
think you got a
follow up with a
secret-
question.
I think you got a secret crush on old Danny Rand there, Brad.
I haven't read most of those comics, Brandon.
Yeah, I've got a question. Why do you not like him? Like, what is it about him that's...
Well, I think he's a little boring.
I mean, that can be... Oh, that's fair. That can just be why. He's just not an interesting character.
The first season of the Netflix series didn't really help that. And there's also
That's
the
what I heard.
fact that he is like that white savior archetype that goes into a foreign land and is better at everything they do than they are. And that that gets under my skin.
That's fair.
Except for they kick his ass all of the time.
That's recent. That's been added. That's not in the original story.
Okay.
I mostly like this character because his story is essentially just Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
or
boy.
essentially Mortal Kombat was based off of Danny Rand, probably.
You might be right.
There are lots of similarities.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you can read through 100 and some Iron Fist comics, then there are plenty for you to do right there. Uh, Brandon, I would like for you to come up with a list that is a faction that he is not affiliated with that includes him.
One of the best places you can splash him in and feel like the best is going to be like Inhumans under Black Bolt. Him and Black Bolt together can really, really cause problems for your opponent. Um, I've had success doing it. I enjoy both of them together. They can just kind of nuke people and essentially making sure that he has the power um, on like turn 2 to Iron Fist can be just really, really good. With
Yeah.
two flying kicks and an Iron Fist get you 8 power, or two triggers on the leadership and 2 flying kicks get you the Iron Fist on turn 2. Um, and then essentially being able to do it twice in a game is doing it once in a game can turn the game on its head. Being able to do it twice is detrimental. So he plays super well with the Inhumans and Black Bolt. I also really like him in Mystique's Brotherhood. Um, it gives another tactics card that they don't really need another tactics card, but it just gives you such a variety of good characters and tactics cards, and just allows you to play. You still play wide under Mystique, but you get to play just great models, um, and it allows him to grab extracts and not um, lose power. So it allows him to play the game, but not to keep his power economy.
Yeah. I've actually got one myself. Um, and I was thinking about putting him in A Force.
Yeah.
And like for the same reason for Black Bolt, like anything that gets you extra power to put on him, and getting up to 8 sooner makes him even more effective on the battlefield. And
Yeah.
and having She-Hulk around, like she can bodyguard it off of him, or
Yeah,
he can bodyguard her if she's close to death with the Heroes for Hire card. You
yep,
can
I like
control
it.
where the damage goes.
Yep.
I like him in Miles Web Warriors, by the way.
Yeah, because he can re-roll any like hits that he gets in his defense dice.
He's pretty good everywhere, guys.
Yeah, he's really great. He's a great model. Okay. Oh, sorry. Go
Uh,
ahead.
he protects those soft little body web slingers, especially Gwen.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that was our take on the Iron Fist. Uh, the only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. So I was thinking that a really great. So I was looking at the cast of his show, and the actor that plays the Iron Fist is in a couple other things. I think he's in Game of Thrones at some point, but he's not like a real huge character. But the person who stood out when looking at the cast is Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson is on this show, and there's a movie that I haven't watched in a while, but that I want to rewatch because of how freaking cool and stylish it is, and that is the movie Sin City. Uh, this is an extremely dark. It's black and white, but it's stylistically black and white. I can't put into words what the art style of this movie is because it's very, very of itself. It's very comic booky actually, and it has such an arresting art style. It's such a great movie. Y'all just have to watch it.
Fred.
I think the term you're looking for, Fred, is macabre noir.
Yeah, it's a macabre noir.
Fred.
Brad?
It literally is adapted from a comic book.
Yeah, I figured that was the case.
Also, there's I think a sequel.
There is a second
2014.
movie. Yeah. But I am recommending go watch the first one, just called Sin City. And that is it for our podcast today. Thank you all for joining me, and thanks to everyone out there for listening. Have a wonderful day. Here's my awkward exit. Bye.